Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. There is one of limitless grace that resides in every heart. He is without beginning, without end, and without limit. He is a treasure for each of our lives. And this treasure is called God. This treasure is beyond mind and desire. He is beyond karma and lust. He is beyond illusion. He is beyond theft. He is beyond murder. He is beyond the elements of fire, air, water, ether. He is beyond illusion. He is beyond mind and beyond desire. Now, in man, all of these things exist. Karma, Maya, illusion, all of the elements, theft, murder, desire, mind. Each man has all of these things, but Allah has none of these things. And as we grow, we begin to learn more and more about the nature of our Creator, the nature of the one who put us here. This world is like a farm. All of the creations grow here, but there are two sections to the farm. One section is the section of karma and maya and illusion, the section of sin, the section of lust, the section of mind and desire, the section of the elements. There is another section which is different than this. It is the section of consciousness, the section of awareness and judgment and wisdom and divine wisdom and divine luminous wisdom. These two sections exist on this farm, and man works in either one section or the other section of the farm. So we are either growing illusion or growing wisdom. This is the choice that we make. We work towards an intention. We work towards a goal. And the question that we have to place before ourselves is, what is that goal that we are working for? What is it that our intention is trying to accomplish in this lifetime? Are we here to learn about the world, or are we here to learn about God? Are we here to obtain Allah's qualities, or are we here to obtain the treasures of the world, the fleeting treasures of the world? Are we looking for that which is eternal and permanent, or are we looking for that which is temporary and illusory? Either way, we make a decision, and we are going to grow that which we intend. If we intend to grow fame and wealth and the things of the world, then we will receive the things of the world. If we intend to grow wisdom and compassion and love and God's qualities, then we will receive the rewards that are commensurate with those qualities. It depends on what it is we intend to grow. There are many, many different plants that are grown on this farm. There are fruit trees that are grown on this farm. And from that which we grow, we will get a reward. From that which we grow, we will reap the harvest that comes from that. What is it that we sow? What is it that we put into the ground? What is it that we are attempting to accomplish? Once the Buddha was walking on his route where he collected alms for his begging bowl. The Buddha and all of his disciples would go out every morning with an empty bowl and ask for food. And the Buddha came to a farmer who was very wealthy, and he held out his bowl, and the farmer looked at him and said, "If you would work instead of being an ascetic, you wouldn't have to go begging for food. You would grow your own food, and you would have your own food. You wouldn't have to come to me." And the Buddha looked at him and said, "I am also a farmer." And the farmer said, "What kind of farmer are you? What do you grow?" And the Buddha said, "Faith is the seed that I sow. Good works fertilize that seed. And I plow with wisdom. And what I attempt to grow is freedom and immortality." The farmer was taken by these words and gave him food. We all are farmers. We're all growing something. The question is, what are we growing? What are we attempting to grow? What is the status of our intention? What is it that we want in this world? What are we looking for? What is our intention? Everything begins with intention. And if we love the world and our intention is the world, then what we will grow is the fruits of the world. We'll grow titles, we'll grow fame, we'll grow wealth, we'll grow all of the things that the world has to offer. But if our intention is Allah, then we will grow consciousness. We will grow the different levels of consciousness. We will grow judgment. We will grow wisdom. We will grow divine wisdom. We will grow divine luminous wisdom. And all of these wisdoms will take us closer to understanding the truth of our Creator. And how is it that we begin to understand the truth of our Creator? We have to understand compassion and love. We have to understand Allah's qualities. We have to understand Allah's actions. We have to understand the way Allah interacts with his creation. And we have to interact with that creation in the way Allah interacts with that creation. There are many, many holy texts, and there are many, many different ways to interpret these texts. Some people interpret them as separations. My text separates me from you. My text is only valid for the people of my religion. My religion is separate from your religion. My way is separate from your way. My way is the only way. And if you want to know your creator, you must go my way. This kind of fanaticism leads to differences of race, of color, of nationality, of religion, of texts. Wisdom sees the commonality of all of these things. Wisdom sees that all of the prophets came with one message. Allah sent 124,000 prophets into this world to bring the knowledge of him into this world. And he sent prophets to all people, to all sects, to all nationalities, to all religions. What happened is, after the prophets came, all of these groups began to differentiate themselves from everyone else. My prophet is different than your prophet. My book is different than your book. My understanding is different than your understanding. My God is not your God. There is but one God. If there is only one God, how can my God be different than your God? There is but one God. And if we truly understand that there is but one God, if we truly understand that there is one Ahad, one alone, who is at the core of everything, our understanding becomes much, much different than an understanding that separates, an understanding that distinguishes, an understanding that says I and you. Now there is an understanding of we, and the entire world is we. If a man walks into an ocean, when he first goes into the water, in the shallow depths, the waves beat him, and there are lots of little fish who live in the shallow depth. As you go deeper and deeper into the ocean, you find more and different fish. And the deeper you go, the more large, the bigger the fish become. As you go deeper and deeper, you get larger and larger fish, and the water becomes stiller and stiller until it has no movement. In the beginning phase, when you first enter into the water, the waves pound you, and the difficulties pound you. The difficulties of separation, the difficulties of mind, the difficulties of pride, the difficulties of arrogance, the difficulties of differences, the difficulties of desire, the difficulties of lust, the difficulties of trying to obtain what it is that the mind wants and what the desire dictates you should chase. As you chase these things, turmoil comes into your life, and your life becomes difficult. But as you go deeper beyond the cursory understanding of things, and you begin to understand the sameness of everything, you begin to understand the unity of everything, you begin to understand the unity of mankind, and the fact that there are truly no differences among us, that we all feel the same pain, that we all feel the same joy, that we all have the same aspirations, that there are no differences among us. As that occurs, then you can enter into the various realms of wisdom. Allah can only be known through wisdom. He can't be known through the qualities of this earth. So we have to develop wisdom if we want to know our Lord. And the first question we should ask is, how do we develop wisdom? What is it about wisdom that changes us? What is it about wisdom that elevates us beyond mind and desire? What is it about wisdom that takes us beyond karma and maya and lust? What is it about wisdom that separates us from the I, me, mine of this world, the greed and the isolation that we find within this world of separations? Wisdom comes to us when we begin to understand the qualities of Allah, the names of Allah. There is a book called the Asmaul Husna, which describes the names of Allah. Now, it's not enough that we know these names. It's easy to say Rahman, Rahim, Latif. It's easy to say the names of God. What's difficult is understanding the meanings of those names and incorporating the meanings of those names into our being, because it is only when those names are incorporated into our being and those qualities are understood that we can begin to understand wisdom. Compassion is without prejudice. Compassion is without separations. Compassion is like rain. It falls, and it falls on everyone. It doesn't differentiate. When we truly understand compassion, we don't have flash judgments about people because of the color of their skin, or because of the name of their religion, or because of their nationality or their language. We are open to everyone. And to be able to truly find this kind of understanding, to be truly able to know this kind of attitude in life, one needs a teacher. This teacher has to be like a father. This teacher has to take us on as if we were his own children, as if we were his own blood. He has to treat us as if we are the reason he is in this world. We need to find such a teacher who has come to save us from illusion, to save us from mind and desire, to save us from karma and maya, to save us from sin, to save us from Satan, to take us on the straight path, and to be the example of what the straight path is to us. The teacher has to be a mirror so that we can see what we should be by looking at him. We are what we are, but within each of our hearts is a ray from Allah. And this ray is hidden from us. But when we see a true man, when we see one who is elevated beyond mind and desire, when we see one who has transcended this world, we see manifest in man the qualities that are Allah's. When we see that in man, we can begin to understand that it is possible in man. And there's a story about a man who was trying to teach a parrot to talk. And he kept looking at the parrot and mouthing words and saying words, and the parrot wouldn't talk. And he kept talking at the parrot and talking at the parrot. Nothing happened. Finally, the man put a mirror in front of the parrot and spoke from behind the mirror. The parrot thought he was talking to a parrot, and he began to pick up the words. He began to repeat what the parrot says. Allah sent us beings that look like us so that we could see within them what it is that we are capable of becoming, what it is that we are capable of being, what it is that we should become, what it is that we should be. And this path is laid out clearly for us, but it needs to be explained to us. When we are in the midst of desire and in the midst of greed and in the midst of trying to consume the world and gather all the things of the world, truth becomes secondary to us. What's more important are the needs of this body, the needs of the mind, the needs of desire, the needs that we have that we think will give us satisfaction in this world. But if we have a few years on us, we find that the things that are truly important in this world are not elemental. They're not made up of fire, air, water, ether. They're made up in a formless way that we can't see. Can we measure love? Can we weigh love? Can we see love? But love can express itself through man, and when love exists within man and is exchanged between men, something happens that is quite extraordinary, and consciousness shifts. Consciousness shifts from need to grace. Consciousness shifts from desire to effulgence. Consciousness shifts from worldly pleasures to godly treasures. And godly treasures are worth far beyond what anything in this world is worth. And only when we begin to understand that can we begin to follow the straight path. You see, so many people have misinterpreted religion. And as long as you have a wrong view of religion, you have a wrong view of God. As long as you think religion separates men, your view of God is that he is somehow separate. As long as you think that religion is exclusive and is only for one people, then you've limited Allah, and we cannot limit Allah. Allah is not limited by religion. Allah is not limited by race. Allah is not limited by nationality. Allah is not limited by man. Allah is all-encompassing. Allah is one. All of creation is one. All that exists is one. And anything that we do that tries to create duality out of that oneness hides truth from us, separates reality from us, puts us in a place where we cannot know reality, but we know illusion, and we call illusion reality. Our mind makes up a reality for us that has nothing to do with truth, and we spend a lifetime believing that until someone shows us the error of our ways. And we may be shown this at the age of 20, at the age of 30, at the age of 40, at the age of 50, at the age of 80, at the age of 90. The point is that if we're shown this error, it's a grace that Allah has bestowed upon us to take us towards the truth. It's a grace that Allah has bestowed upon us to lift the veils of illusion that have clouded us and bring us into truth. People begin to believe in religion instead of God. People begin to believe in their customs instead of God. Their religion and their customs become more important than God. Their religion becomes their God. Their customs become their God. For some, fame becomes their God. Money becomes their God. There are so many idols in this world. Religion can be an idol. We can't allow it to be an idol. The prophets came not to teach us religion, but to teach us God. And we have to be cognizant of that. The prophets came not to separate us, but to bring us together. The prophets came not to bring disunity, but to bring unity among all mankind, to bring us together, not to tear us apart. The prophets came to bring love and compassion into this world. When Medina and Mecca were fighting each other, one of the Arabs in Medina came to the prophet and said, "Place a curse upon the people of Medina." And the prophet said, "I did not come into this world as a curse. I came into this world as a blessing." And we need to understand that. Do we walk around the world cursing, or do we walk around the world blessing? Are we blaming everyone, or are we accepting everyone? What is our attitude? What is our intention? What is the purpose that we are trying to accomplish? As we go deeper and deeper into the ocean, we lose all of the irritation that the waves gave us at the shore. We get to that place where we can rest because we begin to lose all of the things that caused us this irritation. We lose our pride. We lose our differences. We lose our need to be exceptional. We begin to understand that we are all one brotherhood, one family, from one mother and father, Adam and Eve. Everyone came from them without exception. As we enter into this universal brotherhood, we become closer and closer to understanding the reality of our Creator, understanding the reality of the one who put us here, and understanding his qualities. His qualities don't have differences within them. His qualities don't differentiate within them. His qualities are given equally towards everyone. And this is one of the reasons that we need a teacher, we need a sheikh, we need one who has given up the self on behalf of others, who has given up his own needs on behalf of others, because he shows us the attitude that man should have in this existence. He shows us the way of acting. He shows us compassion in action. He shows us love in action. He shows us mercy in action. He shows us justice in action. He shows us that it is possible for man to treat everyone the same. He shows us that there is another way, and we need to know that other way. When we look at each other, we shouldn't see religion. We shouldn't see color. We shouldn't see race. We shouldn't see nationality. We have to look deep inside to where that ray of God exists within each of us. There was a sheikh who was giving a talk to his dervishes, and there was a knock on the door. And one of the dervishes got up from the talk, went to see what was going on. And when he answered the door, there was a beggar, and he said, "Could you please give me a piece of bread?" And the dervish said, "Come back later. The sheikh is talking. That's much more important." And he and he went back and sat down. The sheikh looked at him and said, "Who was that?" And he said, "It was a beggar." And he said, "And what did you do?" He said, "I said you were talking and he should come back later." And he said, "And what did he want?" He wanted a piece of bread. He said, "Go get a loaf of bread out of the kitchen and chase him until you find him and give him that loaf of bread. If God saw it worthy to give him a soul, who are we to deny him a piece of bread?" We need to understand this unity among all mankind. We need to understand this sameness among all of us. Now, as we walk through this world, there's also so many difficulties. There's so many hardships. There's so many things we have to overcome. But if you look at a rose, you'll see that a rose has thorns along its stem. But if you are a lover of roses, you have to learn how to get around the thorns, or else you'll never have a rose. If you're a lover of honey, you have to learn how to extract honey from the bees without getting stung. You have to be loving and kind towards the bees. You have to go in quietly. You have to go in a way that you don't disturb the bees in order to get the honey. Otherwise, you'll be stung. So we have to learn how to walk through this earth without making a lot of commotion. We have to learn how to walk through this earth quietly and with dignity, so that we don't cause difficulty for other people. We have to understand that in the way we have pain, others have pain. We can't walk around blaming people. We have to be able to turn everything towards ourselves and look at ourselves as the reason for the station that we are in. If we are in a good station, it's because of our intention and Allah's help. If we're in a bad station, it's because we've turned from Allah and our intention has been to find the world. We, each of us, have to make these decisions in our life. If we are going to harvest Allah's qualities, we have to intend to have Allah's qualities. And the intention to have Allah's qualities begins with a love of all of humanity, begins with a love of all of Allah's creations, begins with a love for everything that He put here. If a lion sees another lion and they growl at each other, they are just growling lions. If a dog sees another dog and growls at him, they are growling dogs. We have within us lions and dogs and tigers and elephants. And if we run around exhibiting those qualities, we are nothing more than animals. We have to understand what are the qualities of a human being, and we have to begin to exemplify those qualities. The teacher, the true teacher, the teacher with wisdom, exemplifies those qualities. And what we do in the beginning is we imitate those qualities until those qualities actually become who we are. And then we can become examples for others. So we have to become like the teacher, and then we become examples for others to begin to understand Allah's nature. Allah is truth. Allah is kindness. Allah is grace. Allah is effulgence. Allah is mercy and compassion and truth. Allah is without differences. Allah is equal towards all. Are we equal towards all? What is the state of our differences? We can measure our level of wisdom by understanding the state of our differences. Wisdom is the ability to act not with self-motive, not with self-interest, not about ourselves, but to act with mercy and compassion and equality towards all. This is at the core of wisdom, seeing things from a different perspective. Allah is from the world of light. In the world of light, the things of this world are not relevant. And the ones from the world of light understand that and act from that perspective. We need to act from that perspective. We have to change who we are. That's what going on the straight path means. Becoming Rahman, becoming Rahim, becoming Latif, becoming the qualities that are exalted, that are beyond mind and desire. Mind is limited. Mind only goes to the level of philosophy. There is a level beyond philosophy, and that is reality. And that level, reality, is available to us if we choose to understand and incorporate God's qualities within us. We have to act in that way. We have to pray in that way. When we ask from Allah, what is it that we should ask for? We should ask to come to know him. We should ask to take on his qualities. We should ask to become pure. We should ask that we become unto the truth, that differences leave us and unity is understood by us, and unity becomes who we are. May it be so for each and every one of us. May this occur within our lifetime. May it be that we enter into Allah's path and follow that path towards him, so that we are accepted by him and considered by him to be one of his friends. May it be so for each and every one of us. Ameen, ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.